My name is Ibukun Awosika. The theme for this year is Breaking the Bias. Happy International Women's Day. It's definitely my pleasure to be here today at the International Women's Event of the Development Bank of Nigeria. I find it quite interesting because I was on the board of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority when the whole idea of DBN was being mooted. And it's nice to see that it's been live and functioning successfully for a few years now, and that you are a gender-sensitive organization that is more than willing to invest time in taking care of matters that will make the women in your team celebrated. So I'd like to thank the Managing Director of DBN, all the executives, especially Mr. Idris, who's been liaising with me and his own team for the invitation to come. I never take any invitation for granted. One thing that is clear is that to build a great nation, to build a great institution, to make Development Bank of Nigeria a world-class institution that seeks to use the best of available talents for the benefit of the mandate that it was given. It would need to find every kind of talent, whether male or female, to apply their knowledge to that which is required to build the institution. Once we identify where we want to go as an organization, what you want to achieve as an organization, it becomes a disservice to your vision and to your organization to now undermine that goal by allowing traditional biases, community biases, religious biases, and especially gender biases to make it impossible for us to deliver in what we set out to do. You know, I grew up in a home where my dad had mainly girls. We were largely girls. At a point, we had 3 boys, and 1 died. And there were 2 boys left, and 5 girls. And for my mom, she had 5 girls and 2 boys. The one that died was one of hers. So she had 1 boy and 4 girls left. But I remember that growing up, there was a time when I would say to my mom that I know that you will readily sell all 4 of us for your one son, simply because there was just this cultural thing about the boys. But interestingly, I think my father and eventually my mom was way ahead of his time and his generation in parenting. Because though he had mainly girls, he had a great attitude to raising his girls. My father taught us that there was nothing we couldn't do. He raised us to believe that the world was open to us and anything we can dream, desire, and we're willing to work for was possible. If, as an organization or as a nation, we consider that certain things are reserved for certain genders, certain tribes, certain areas, we set ourselves up already for underperformance, because it means that at every opportunity, we do not allow the best of our talent to go to work for us. Now, it's really important that one of the ways we deal with biases is that we have an inclusive agenda, which means we're seeking at all points to bring everybody along. But however, in dealing with one bias, we must also be careful that we do not create another bias. The one that is my big concern for today's celebration are biases against women. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean that she cannot take on the task. I hope you realize that as of today, there are certain sectors that by law women cannot even play in effectively. I serve on the board of an FMCG company, and I was shocked to find out one day that there are certain segments of our human capital that we cannot fully engage women. And I'm like, why? Simply because the law prevents the organization from employing women to do night shift. Now, that's an assumption. That's already locked out, I don't know how many millions of women who might have capacity to work in that segment and who might be interested and who, despite the fact that they need to work at night, are willing to do the work. They're women nurses, right? And nurses work what? 24/7. They're nurses or female doctors who are night shift, and there's no law preventing them. So why would we still, in 2022, have certain segments in a time and a season when I think literally it's been proven that women can function in any field, any field, any field. And from some of the history that's coming out, we've since realized that women have been engaged in solving major problems for hundreds and hundreds of years. I wonder how many women have died with the talents and the solutions that the world needs simply because they were never allowed to be in the condition that will give them the power of expression of their talents and their gift. As an institution, I hope by the example of hosting, or the effort I know that went into hosting today, and with someone like Claire on your board, I know for sure she'll keep you on your toes, ensuring that you're more than committed to the process of maximizing the talents of the women in your pool, but even more so when you go out to seek for talents, searching for the best that is available, irrespective of the shape of their body and the organs that they have. Because really, until I got into the real world, I just didn't understand that there were certain things I couldn't do. Until people started saying, oh, you're in a man's world. What is that? I'm in a world. I'm a human being. And every opportunity that is available to human beings are possible. So, in my journey of life, my father's attitude that he taught us in terms of our approach helped me a great deal to have an open mind and an unrestrained mind to be ambitious about the things that I found interesting for me. And that encouragement and support, which started from my father, and which I then, thank God, got from marrying a good guy, from marrying a man who had the capacity to celebrate my gifts, to nurture them, and to support my journey in a way that I did not feel any restraint to aspire and to want to be whatever it is. And then I myself had to be accountable for my vision and my ambition by the decisions that I make. Because it doesn't matter what opportunity is available. If the women in the house do not step forward to compete for it, then you don't get it. So you need to compete for the opportunities that are around you. You need to have your own preparation. If you want a position in 5 years, be ready for it in 3. You need to step out and let the competition take place. Don't prejudge the situation, because our own internal biases as women can also stop us from competing, because we will decide in advance that, oh, they're not going to allow a woman to take place. I see from your list you have the MD of FSDH and you have the MD of SMENG, who are both amazing women in their own right, who have done amazing things in their career to get to this point. And as of right now in Nigeria, there are 9 banks with female MDs, and there's still a few chairmen of banks who are women. So it says it doesn't matter what other people's biases are. If you refuse to be biased against yourself by stepping out to force the situation or the question, by challenging the status quo, by your preparation, by your performance, by being present and going after what you want. You might not get it all at the first run, but prepare yourself, compete for what you want. Ultimately, the ground will yield. Personally, my relationship with God has been the anchor of my journey. A great husband and a most supportive spouse will always be one of the biggest assets you will have as a woman. So it's also a biased mind that assumes that men do not want their women to go so far. That's an individual matter for each man. Step forward and make a difference. And for those who are more matured in the organization, you need to give back. You need to share time. You need to share learnings with the younger people around you. You need to guide them because they won't always know everything. If you want to build a successful community, there are always community builders within each community. And those of you who are ahead need to share what you know. Part of your journey that helped to make you successful, help the younger women behind to do it. And they in turn will pay it forward. That's my rule for life. Pay whatever you know. Pay it forward. Because I think some people invested in making it possible for me to have the courage to step out and never give up. And one thing, as a woman, make sure that your value system is sound and is protected. Because in your worst day, it is your antecedents, your track record, the values you have held, and the way you have walked your values that will defend you. Because the trial days will come. But when you're consistent in your journey, even the biases or the preconceived notions will fall apart. I wish all the women of Development Bank of Nigeria a wonderful International Women's Day. And I hope that you would just take this day as a stepping stone to do greater things and to make yourself more productive and value-adding to the organization. Thank you very much for inviting me, and have an enjoyable day.